All right, awesome. Super excited to be here with you. We're going to talk about the vision for Crecimiento. And the goal here is to kind of like give you a sense for why we're doing this, what's possible, what's at stake, and give you a sense of like why this year matters so much in the next 5 years. So who here is like Argentinian? Raise your hand. Okay, a lot of people. Awesome. Yeah. This is great. You get it. You get it. Who here has been in crypto for like 3 or more years? Okay, awesome. You get a lot of this. So if you haven't noticed, for the people who are not Argentinian, Argentina has had this horrible problem with inflation for quite a long time already. Like, it was kind of like 0.3 of a dollar, or even like 1 to 1 to a dollar, like not that long ago, and it's now 0.001 of a dollar. This is like a massive decrease in value. Like I've heard crazy figures like 100 to 200% inflation per year. Like that's kind of like an insane level of wealth destruction for a society. And like you can't build a life that way. You can't build a prosperous society with like businesses and an economy and so on in that situation. So many people have suffered this. In fact, Emi, like this is like you're living this. Like how do you feel about this? Yes.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of funny. It reminded me like when I went to university, you know, they have the curriculum. It's like you have to present a 3-year plan for your business. And it's like, why? Like, it makes no sense. And the teachers are like, I know, but they asked me to, so just present it. And we were like, just dropping numbers, you know. Next year, we're going to make 20%, and it's going to cost us this amount. And everyone is like, this is pointless, right? And like, that support infrastructure for startups is like, you can't get it. And then never mind the people, and like, many of you are Argentinians, so you know what I'm talking about. But like, building a startup, building a company, like having a family and knowing like how are you gonna buy a house in the future? You know, our generation doesn't buy houses. Like most of my friends, like they build a prefab house on top of their parents' house. You know, it's like great if you have a date. You know, like it's my mom and dad. Let's go upstairs and like it's sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's exactly. So that sucks, right? And like that's an economic structural problem. And so a lot of us who are in crypto. A lot of the potential of crypto is in greatly improving economies. Like one of the foundational components of all of this cryptographic technology that we're developing is into being able to create these coordination tools to give you better currencies, better economies, better structures. So that macroeconomic problem has led to one of the highest adoption rates in crypto in the world. So crypto has 10 to 20% of the people on crypto already. This is massive compared to many other countries. It's a pretty large country already, as we saw it, like 40 to 60 million people or so, 60 million-ish, 46. So that's a lot of people that are already in crypto and who use crypto as a huge fraction of their wealth. Actually, a question for the Argentinians in the room: how many of you use crypto as your primary source of like funding? Yeah, like more than half. Yeah, everyone's like, I don't know, do I want to? Okay. Yeah, more than half. That's more than half the people in the room. Most of them are Argentinians. Like that shows you the confidence in the traditional economy. So now there's a huge opportunity, right? Like this amount of bottoms-up adoption that is not seen in almost anywhere else presents this amazing opportunity to try and build an economy, a national economy, on these foundations, on this structure, on this like much better tooling. So kind of like. Why this moment? Like kind of like enter Milei as an opportunity. So Milei was elected as kind of like we are sick and tired of the situation. This has got to change candidate, and he came in to kind of like unwind the inflation, and that's so far like has reduced it, but that's not at all sufficient, right? Like you need to get into a spot where this problem isn't going to come back, and more importantly, where you have economic prosperity to lift millions of people out of poverty. Like there are millions of people in Argentina right now that are in poverty that need to be able to pull themselves up. And that means creating jobs, creating businesses, creating economic prosperity for a ton of people. So how do we get there? Like the opportunity space here is we have massive bottoms-up adoption. We have openness from top down of like, at least a very strong alignment with the crypto ethos, right? Like a lot of the Malay government is aligned with the crypto ethos in terms of, hey, less government control of money, don't print, let businesses figure it out. The government is not like super crypto positive in the way that, say, Salvador's government or other places are, but it's very open to these ideas and very aligned with the ethos. And so that is a massive, massive opportunity. So these, like the terrible economic conditions that created this massive bottoms-up adoption and the openness from the top, like it's kind of like this crazy perfect storm in the next 4 years to try and do something really significant, which is to try and bootstrap Argentina's economy into a crypto-first economy and generate massive economic prosperity for all of the people there through these financial rails that can't be co-opted and can't be taken over and can't be like printed against, right? It's like that's the opportunity. So there's a bunch of like, pull and push factors in all of this. First off, like, half the room is Argentinian. How many of you are like building a company or building a startup and so on? Almost all of you. Great. How many like Argentine startups in the crypto space? How many startups in the crypto space come from Argentinian founders or Argentinian builders working on them?
All of them.
Yeah, almost like huge fraction of Argentinian founder startups, and almost all of them have lots of Argentinian builders working on them, right? The Argentinian people are like this amazingly talented group who've been building massive parts of this industry, and they've been improving the rest of the world with their talent. And so this possibility is like, hey, let's take all of this amazing talent and now turn it inward into Argentina to build up the Argentinian economy. Like that's an amazing opportunity. So why crypto? Like one of the interesting things here is when you look at the major problems plaguing the Argentinian economy, it's basic stuff. It's like, hey, don't devalue the money. Hey, I need the ability to like send payments to people. I need like a bank account that I can trust that isn't going to get devalued. Hey, I need to be able to have credit. I need to be able to like take some assets and borrow against them to be able to like invest in myself or invest in a business or something like that. Like I was shocked to hear that like there's no mortgages in Argentina. Like what? Like this is like the bedrock of like the U.S. economy. Like most people in the U.S. economy can rely on there being a mortgage to support their growth. And all of this is doable with crypto. Like how many crazy DeFi loan things are there? Like this is insane, right? And so we have the tech to be able to solve this sort of stuff. We just have to point it at like solving the real world problems for 46 million people. So all of these kinds of problems have a corresponding potential tool or service that could address it. But why hasn't this happened yet? Well, because these things are super fucking hard to use, right? Like this is super difficult today, and it can't help most of the people. Like when most of the people try to get into the crypto space, it's very difficult to use. There are some amazing exceptions, but for the most part, like you can't, as an Argentinian in Argentina, try and get your house and collateralize it with crypto and get a loan. Like that's just not a thing you can do. And today, in like the last 20 to 30 years, the way a lot of us in the world have improved the world is by building extremely high quality products and delivered them as services to the world and enabling like people to transact with these things, kind of on a direct consumer basis. So these solutions, if we can build them as high quality products that most people in the world can access, or like most people in Argentina can access, this can uplift millions of people. So like that's the opportunity. So okay, sounds crazy. Like there's a lot to build here. Like man, this is like each of these things is a whole startup, right? Like each product here is a massive startup. How do we get there? Well, there's not that many. First of all, there's kind of like 10 to 15 separate products or services that would have to be built. And each of those, you need a super high quality, successful product. And to get to one super high quality, successful product, you usually need something on the order of like 5 to 10 solid startups giving it a shot, because most startups fail. And so this means like Argentina is maybe like 50 to 100 startups away from solving the economic problem, which is not that crazy, right? Like 50 to 100 startups away from solving the economic problem. What do we know that's like 50 to 100 startups a batch?
An accelerator.
Yeah. So, like what? Like YC pumps out,
YC.
what, 200 to 300 startups a batch? like across a very large field, but like these are totally realistic numbers. If we created this kind of like acceleration structure for Argentina around these kinds of problems and started supporting a lot of founders, you can pump out somewhere between 50 to 200 startups in the next year or two. The question is like, who are the builders? What are they doing? And is the plan legit? Like, is this like a really good thing that deserves the support and deserves the help and whatnot? Is this a good plan? So the opportunity space is saying, hey, everybody, oh my God, like this is an amazing opportunity in the next few years to try and create all this economic prosperity. We need good solutions and services to be built. We can do that through startups. The way we stimulate that growth is we like draw attention to this problem space and paint the opportunity space for people, like create a request for startups, point out opportunities, point out problems, like support the people doing it, like give grants to people to like give it a shot, attract accelerator programs, so like come and run accelerators in the space, attract an investment community. All the Argentine founders and builders that have built great products, they can support the next generation of builders. Like the people in this room can be the angel investors of all of the people. Either you can go build these solutions, or you can be the angel investors that can support the growth of this community. So it's kind of like that, trying to cause this whole growth is what Crecimiento is about. Cool. So, there's a lot there. Like, let's summarize it. Like, bring 5 to 10 million people on chain. That's kind of like getting to like the right percentage size. Create this very powerful tech startup ecosystem using crypto through these kind of funding and support structures. And this third one, I haven't really touched on it, but we need to get a kind of like 20-year stability structure for the startups, because today in Argentina you have this problem where like you might have a few years of like regulation that's pro-business and then a few years that's not. And so that pendulum swinging back and forth is very difficult to build with. Like most founders are like, can't do this, gotta leave, right? And so that one can come if the first two show promise. If the first two are legit creating significant value for the community and for Argentina, the third one is very possible through, and we'll talk through kind of how that can happen. Cool, Emi.
Yeah. Hey. So it just reminded me of there's a talk by Peter Thiel talking about PayPal and the beginnings of PayPal, and how he said that 6 months after the creation of PayPal, if someone did PayPal, it wouldn't have happened because enough regulation was put in place and got in the middle. So it was like the time to create a network effect strong enough that they couldn't stop it because it's like so beneficial for people. And sort of this is what we're conveying here of like, we have the moment in time in order to build all of these products and structures and give like benefits and value to people. And then once they've tried them and they're good, then there's no going back. That's stability. I mean, we're working as well in, like Millie is going to talk later about like sandbox regulation and a lot of stuff that we're doing to change the system, like through voice, through the inside, but also like exit and just like change the system with new products. It's like attacking everything in different fronts, right? So who are we? We are a bunch of people. And the idea is that this is an open movement, anyone can participate. There's some structure to it that I'll talk to, but the idea is that there's so many companies in Argentina and like startups. I'm glad to see so many Argentines here. It's, I was gonna say, I don't know if you've seen on YouTube the video about the Argentine ant, which is an ant that, yeah. Have you seen it? So the Argentine ant is the only ant that expands multiple colonies and it can conquer continents, because the genetic difference between the queens is so little that an ant that moves from one colony to the other is accepted. And it becomes a little friend and makes a barbecue and everything is fine, right? So that's me. So here are the Argentine ants that we're like building products around the world and helping. So if we can empower that and create that and expand that, then we're going to have an ecosystem that's not only going to help Argentina, but everywhere, right? So we're organized in basically a call center with leaders and a secretariat, which is where we help coordinate. I'm one of the leaders, so bow to me. It's like me and other people are basically helping coordinate this movement, and then the work comes from different working groups where we're tackling, funding, world business development, like research and know the ecosystem, like where the ecosystem is right now, what it needs, who is the people involved, who is the people that don't know are Argentines, but they're involved, Crypto adoption, like bringing educations to universities, to every place in Argentina. I like that this movement is very federal, so it's not concentrated in Buenos Aires, but it's like spread out. Then the organization of the pop-up city, that's a great thing that we're gonna talk about later. And money, like someone has to. So what's the plan? And I don't know if you wanna jump in one a bit, but when the guys came and proposed the idea of Crecimiento, that was like 3 months ago, and it's been crazy, hectic, chaotic. I just arrived to Buenos Aires to listen to a talk, and 2 months later, I'm here talking to all of you guys. So.
There's like 1,000 people in Telegram.
There's 1,200 people. There's like 50 companies involved, and I mean, at this rate, in 2 months, I'm like Milei's advisor or something. But so the guys came. What I really like about when they proposed the idea is it's like understand the ecosystem that already exists, how to empower it, how to organize it, and like make it a decentralized movement that also has like some verticality and others of organization and being very like active and actually working. So that was April, August. Then during August, we're gonna do the launch of the pop-up city. That's gonna be amazing from the 5th of August to the 1st of September. And then this is a long-term movement. So how do we continue supporting this in the long term? You know, through accelerators, through sandbox regulation, through support of mentors, bringing people in, and like anything that you can think of and want to participate to do this like a long-term movement experience, then we are very happy to have you.
So the timeline has to be kind of compressed, right? Because this top-down support for crypto potentially could disappear in 4 years. Like it's not clear whether Milei will remain, and the pendulum can swing in the other direction. So from our perspective, if we can get massive economic prosperity for 5 to 10 million, or ideally 20 million Argentinians in the next 2 to 3 years, if that can happen, then that can flip Argentina into having much stronger economic rails long term and fix Argentina's problem. And if that happens, it could be the first nation in the world that uses crypto as its rails for its economy, for its national economy, which would be massive. Like that would be like one of the biggest wins for the entire crypto industry as a whole, right? So if you have like no connection at all to Argentina, and the Argentina specific mission is like far away from you, just the crypto-wide mission of like, hey, come help this happen to kind of improve a macro national economy with crypto should be like this, amazingly inspiring potential vision. And so that, in order to make that happen, we need like very strong products to be in market with massive adoption by like 2026, which is doable. Like when you look at startup growth rates and product growth rates, that can happen, but you need a lot of this stuff to get started now and get started growing and kind of like stimulate the growth, which is kind of why we're doing the pop-up city, why we want startup accelerators involved early, and why we want like a strong founder builder community trying a lot of things, why we want a lot of potential angel investors and so on exploring the opportunity space, why we want a lot of builders helping support the movement. Because through 2024 to 2025, if we can kind of like launch a lot of those products, see what's sort of working over time, then kind of by 2026 we can be in a pretty good trajectory. So, sound good? Who's like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Yeah, awesome. So this is where like the city is so important, because the city is how we build the culture of the movement, and we stimulate we support the first wave of builders and founders that are going to go and make the first wave of products, and how we can set up the kind of like accelerator type structures to support that growth. One of the things that we know we need is we need a startup accelerator type thing that has been a tried and true model that helps a lot of startups. What we also think we need is something that we haven't quite seen anywhere, which is kind of like we're calling like a founder accelerator, where it's like help enable builders who are super talented but who've never like considered the landscape of like going to build a startup, try and compress that journey that usually takes somewhere between 1 to 2 years and turn that into 2 to 3 months. And that's kind of like happening before the startup accelerator. And so we need some kind of program like that. And over time, like we'll see, like if this is very successful, like this could repeat and keep pumping out like successful startups. This could repeat and keep supporting a lot of the growth of founders. All of this, it's a very organic movement. Like we'll see what happens and how it grows. But the pop-up city in August is going to be kind of where a lot of the culture gets built, a lot of the first applications get developed, and I think the rest follows from there.
Yeah. I mean, like talking about founders and accelerators, I think we should do like an investor accelerator, because I've been in this like startup industry, let's say 10, 15 years or something in Argentina as well. You go to ask for money from a traditional investor in Argentina, it's like, I need 50 grand to start. And they're like, okay, I want 50%. All right, it's not how it works. I'm gonna show you YC. And they're like, yeah, but that's the US. So like this sort of learning, and I think the pop-up is gonna be a great selling point for everyone to pay attention to Argentina during that month and see what you can build and how much of a hub it is. So this is the introduction of Aleph. We're going to be talking much more about it later, but it's going to be from the 5th of August to the 1st of September. It has a Dev Connect style calendar, so we encourage everyone that has a company to do their own events, like for a day, for a few days. We have venues, we have space, and we're going to help bring people in. So it's going to be a space of around 5 blocks in the heart of Buenos Aires. Like the key metric is a percentage of people that are into crypto that's going to be involved there. It's going to be like massive. So we want to catalyze those crypto solutions that Juan is talking about. And basically 400 founders, startup builders, experts, researchers, government people. We're going to make a big party of it and barbecues and stuff. All of this is going to be framed as well within a regulatory sandbox that Millie is going to be talking about later. But this is amazing because it allows us the opportunity to test use cases and things that normally wouldn't be possible to do. And as well, it's a great first start to like many things that are going to happen in the future in terms of research for potentials, free economic zones, or like different developments of a working group that is building and researching everything in order to like have a space that creates this prosperity of 20 years that Juan is talking about. So you don't build a company, it's huge, and then you go live in Uruguay or Portugal because you can't stay in Argentina. And I know that the Argentines here know what I'm talking about. Okay, so like I said before, we're going to have great people. We have like investors that are like Ripio Ventures, Newtopia, Protocol, obviously, Lemon, Stanford Blockchain, this environment. Just like the learning and the education that we're going to receive during that month is going to be incredible. And again, the idea is that this is not a Crecimiento event. This is like an event that everyone can participate. And if you have a company that is an Argentine company that wants to like host events, you're more than welcome to. So please join the Telegram. We have like 1,200 people already. Many companies, regulators. Like the introduction channel is amazing. The amount of people that like participate that you didn't know are involved in the movement, so please join. And up next, we're going to be talking about sorry.
It's going to go back one thing. So kind of like calls to action for the group here. So A, you're here hearing about it, awesome. Like that's great that you're here, and we'll talk through all this problem space. 2, join the Telegram group and kind of see what's going on and help contribute to things. Like you might find something that's very interesting to you specifically, or where you can contribute. Help that way. That goes a long way. 3rd, come down to the city in August and like just help build this culture and help build these things. That I think will be very significant. 4, if you are working in an organization that can contribute to this thing, to this kind of mission, come host events there. Or maybe focus some of your products towards that. Come help uplift the economy there and orient your organization or your products in that direction. 5th, if you're considering some jump of like actually going and solving one of these problems, like we would love to hear from you because we want to support that group of founders that are going to go and take on these challenges and these products and build those solutions. And you don't have to have done this in the past. We're trying to think of like the structure to support as many people as we can in that journey. And a lot of times it might be by joining a group that exists already, or by starting something from scratch. And I guess 6. What am I on? 6. If you've ever invested or you're interested in that, like consider doing this down the road later in 2024 as the startups mature. We think a lot of these startups are going to get a ton of support from a very large community and are going to have like this amazing growth trajectory with a lot of the Argentinian people. And a lot of those startups are going to be applicable to the rest of the world. And so those might be some of the best startup investments to make in that time frame. And so just consider that might be a great standpoint for helping mentor the next generation of founders and builders in that community. So yeah, really kind of like get involved and do the thing that you find most appeals to you that can be a useful thing for the movement. Really think of like the, I think, is it Kaizen? Like the Japanese style of like, what you really like, what is your calling, what is valuable, and it can be like a good kind of business opportunity for you. So yeah, come in, let's grow together.